Okay, so let's go ahead and start writing our code. So we're gonna, instead of writing everything in setup, I'm gonna go ahead and split things apart into functions so that we have a good amount of recyclable code. The very first function that I will write, I will name mine it will be void type, so it will return nothing. It will have no return values of whatsoever. I will name mine POW admin. And I will make this function accept a single argument, which will be a string CMD. Okay? So, what is this function going to do? What is its purpose? First of all, I'm going to create this function so that whatever string I pass to it, and that string will be some sort of a command in Windows, that command will be run as admin. So because we need to run a lot of stuff as admin, I'm going to have a function which accepts some sort of a command in a form of a string and then runs that command as admin. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. The first thing that we need to do is basically, let's actually go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Windows VM, and I'm gonna put this actually to desktop number 2, so that I can basically just switch between desktops and that you can actually see it. So if I do this on desktop 2, I will have a Windows machine where I will demonstrate the keys, and on, okay, my keyboard doesn't seem to be functional. On desktop 1, I will basically just go ahead and write the code. So what I need is to basically open up the start menu in order to be able to actually type in a command and have it function. Okay, so how do I open up the start menu? Well, by pressing the GUI button, the Windows button on the keyboard. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and press the Windows button on the keyboard. Keyboard dot set underline modifier, and this is going to be modifier key right GUI. Okay, semicolon at the end. So this is going to set the modifier to be the right GUI, and then we're going to basically just send that key. Keyboard dot send underscore now, and semicolon to terminate. So basically, with these 2 lines of code, we have effectively pressed the Windows key on the keyboard, and we're holding it. So we need to basically release it, because it shouldn't be held forever. Delay, so we're going to create a small delay between pressing it and releasing it. That delay will be 1 second. And now we actually need to release it because, well, let's just separate the code a little bit. So we've pressed it with the first 2 lines of code, with the line 14 and with line 15. Then we're creating a small delay, and now we are going to release that key from the keyboard. So let's go ahead and release it. Okay, so keyboard dot set. We first need to set the modifier back to 0. So set modifier, and this is going to go to 0. And we're going to go ahead and type in keyboard dot send underscore now. That's it. So with this, we have actually released it. We have set the modifier back to 0, and we have issued that, we have propagated that, and therefore the key has been released with the send now. So let me just show you what we have actually achieved with this block of code, what it actually does. So let me just go ahead and change the desktops. And this is what I've done. I've pressed the GUI key and I've released it. But if I did not release it, if I was just holding my Windows key on the keyboard, when I say GUI key and Windows key, that's the same thing. If I'm holding it, nothing is happening. It's just holding it. It's still sending the signal, but it's holding it. So I need to release it in order to open the start menu. And that is exactly what I've done with those few lines of code. Okay, so let's go back. Excellent. Now that that is done, I'm going to go ahead and create a delay here. Okay, so this delay will be 1000 again. And this delay is so that when, let me just go ahead and show you. Look, when you press and release the start menu or the Windows key, this opens, but you don't know how fast the computer is in which you are actually plugging it in. So when you press it and release it, there might be a slight delay, a slight lag, and if the computer is really slow, you should actually create a delay before doing anything else. Before you actually type anything into this tab here, you should create a delay and then have it printed out. Because if you're working on a really fast computer, then it's not perhaps that important, but you have no idea in which computer will this USB be plugged in. So you need to make it you need to make it as universal as possible. Okay? So let's move on. After the key has been released, we have created a delay of 1000 seconds. And now we are going to go ahead and run the passed argument. The passed argument is the CMD string. These names are arbitrary, like CMD, POW, admin. You can use your own names, but make sure that the changes reflect the rest of the code as well. Now we need to basically run the command which has been passed in the form of the string, and we need to print it out into the start and run it. Okay, so keyboard dot print. So as before, you've already seen this one, and this is going to be CMD, and there you go. So this will be printed there, and then we're going to go ahead and create a delay, because we don't know how fast will this actually be typed in there. It is possible to type more than 600 characters per second, but you don't know how fast will they be recognized. So create a delay after you've typed them in. So let's say 2 seconds. Okay. And what this does is basically, so you've pressed and released the Windows key, you've typed something in here, but you have no idea how fast will this be actually typed in here. So you created a break. Look, you press the Windows key, release it, create a break, type something in here, create a break before you actually send the command, and then you press enter. But yeah, so now you basically just, but you're not going to be pressing the enter because we want to run something as admin, and that's going to be the second portion of this function. If you just pressed enter, that would be, the command would be run, but it wouldn't be run as admin. You need to run it as admin, and for it's something to be run as admin, you need to use like the combination of control and shift and enter keys, and then the UAC control will actually prompt you for admin privileges. But we're going to do that in the follow-up.